Get ready to hear hypocrisy like you've never heard it before. Let's listen to Keir Starmer on Russia.
Just starting with those awful images coming out of Ukraine in the last few days, they're horrific and they're really harrowing, and I think nobody who's looked at them can be left untouched by them. I actually turned the newspaper front pages over at home the other day because I didn't want our children to even see the images. And I think it's very important that when we see acts like this, that we call them out. They are war crimes. What I don't think is wise, and this is, we're always being asked to do this, is for politicians to sit looking at clips on social media or on programmes and forming instant judgments about whether it's a breach of this law or that. That doesn't seem to be wise.
What is wrong with this guy? Why is it a war crime when Russia does it and not when Israel does it? This is somebody who has described himself not as a Zionist but as a supporter of Zionism. If you look at the statistics from the genocide in Gaza and compare the number of journalists killed, compare the number of children killed, civilians, non-combatants, it is incomparable with the amount killed by Russia in Ukraine over the similar period. It is an astronomically higher amount of journalists and non-combatants killed in Gaza as compared with Ukraine. So what would make it a war crime? What has Israel got to do for Keir Starmer to call out a war crime? And for him to recently dangle the recognition of a Palestinian state as some kind of a threat, pretty much an empty threat. Most of the world do already recognize a state of Palestine. Why is he dangling that as a threat against Israel? If you don't stop committing war crimes, then we will recognize the state of Palestine. What might be a better idea is to define what we mean by Israel. If you recognize Israel, which was created when Palestine was partitioned against the will of the people living there, presumably you recognize the part that became Israel. If you're acknowledging that, then you must surely recognize the part that didn't become Israel. What do you mean by Israel? Has Israel ever even defined its own borders? If you are a supporter of Israel, and he is, I would like to know, what do you mean by Israel?